ahead. We'll have Coach start with an opening statement, then we'll go to questions.
First of all, I'm really, really, really grateful that Jesus Christ is my Lord and Savior. And he never puts us in situations that we can't handle, we can't overcome, we can't deal. But he also puts us in those situations so that we can continue to glorify him and help people understand. I did not come to Kansas State to be the head coach. Coach Tang and I and Coach Drew, 23 years ago, for 6 years, went through the most tumultuous college athletics situation that's ever happened. Flipped the program around from a murder in 5 years to the NCAA tournament, in 7 years to the Elite Eight. Coach Tang and I were thicker than thieves. The amount of hours, the amount of time, the amount of tears. He is an amazing human being. We're the godparents to his daughter, who was born when we played Kansas. Coach Tang has always been there for me. He's always supported me. Coach Tang is an amazing human being, and he did amazing things at Kansas State. And I'm super, super, super proud of the staff. Because sometimes these things don't go the way you want them to go, and sometimes they go sideways, and sometimes emotions get in the way, which is human beings. It's what we are. And our staff was beyond phenomenal. It wasn't about anything except continuing to do what Coach has set up the table to do. And I'm going to tell you guys this right now. On Sunday, when Coach told us the news, he shared with us something that's very, very important. And it's so true. And because of his leadership and because of what he did, that's why tonight transpired. And that's why everything came to fruition tonight. He took us from here, and we went through a lot of tough things. But if you want to know something, there's nothing easy in life, and nothing's normal. Only a setting on the washing machine, right, Carrie? And by the way, the hard line, when you go stand in the hard line, how many people were there? 1, 2, 3? Everybody wants it easy. And he said, we're not doing that. And because of our guys' resiliency and their ability to understand, I don't know why. I can't explain why. But I can tell you this. Because of that, and because of what transpired, and the way it transpired, we went from this to this. And it showed Saturday, and it surely showed tonight. Because when you're a team that has a record like ours and has been through the tough losses that we've been through, when the game gets from high double digits, 21 maybe was the largest lead, I don't know, and they cut it to some single digit number that I don't know what it is, that's when your sphincter gets tight, and that's when you start saying, oh my goodness, here we go again. Oh, here we go again. And that's when you start pointing fingers. And that's when you start saying, throw me the ball, do this and do that. And if you would have heard them and you'd have heard our staff, that's what Coach Tang was able to accomplish. So I'm super proud and I'm honored when he talked to me on Sunday and said, I want you to do this. But nothing in life that's great gets accomplished alone. So I'm super proud of our staff and the way in which they dealt with this. And obviously the players, their resiliency and their ability to overcome a lot. Martin Luther King said this: if you can't fly, come on. If you can't fly, what? Run. If you can't run, what? Walk. If you can't walk, what? Crawl. But whatever you do, you keep moving forward. And that's what we're going to do. We're going to keep moving forward, because that's the biggest window when you drive. That rear view mirror is no good. That's the devil's work. That ain't no good.
Okay, who wants to start with? Hold on one second.
By the way, as a head coach, that's my first win in Bramlage. I'm 1-3.
It's also the 450th at Bramlage.
So there you go. Yeah, with a COVID. We had a COVID game, too, that we never played.
Coach Driscoll, you were moved to tears post-game radio. Just kind of wondered what's going through your head, and what are the emotions in a moment like this, a win like this?
So first of all, I'm glad that I'm done, because there was a lot of them back in the hallway, and then when we started thinking about it again, and I really felt bad, because I never shed a tear when this whole thing transpired. I'm really built weird. I'm an odd dude. I'm just not normal in certain things. And we did a profile test, and the guy texted me and said, hey, you'll be whatever. And I said, can you do me a favor? Can you help explain to me what showed up on my test of why I'm feeling like this? And he did. He sent it to me, and he gave me the information that helped me understand how I'm built. It doesn't make me a bad human being. It's just the way I'm built. And so I had a feeling at the end of this night, no matter the outcome, then it was going to hit me. And it was going to become something a little bit different. So, Coach, I mean, he's an amazing human being. So it's just coaching against Coach Drew, 16 years at North Florida, they don't ever want to play, because he doesn't want to play his former assistants, And so, there's just so much that came about this.
Second, so many times you see head coaches back in the locker room.
Say it again.
So many times you see head coaches back in the locker room before a game, and you see them, walk out just before tip-off. For 2.5 hours tonight, you were out there pregame, with your Win the Day shirt. Just kind of wondered the mindset, the thought process of, hey, I'm going to be out there with my guys for 2.5 hours when I could be, doing whatever behind the scenes, but you were visible and present and, out there.
So I'm a soldier in the Army. My daddy said, whatever you do it the way it's supposed to be done, because your last name is on it. So my job is to be the associate head coach for Kansas State basketball, and with that come a lot of responsibilities. So because I moved over, with that title or whatever, I'm not going to stop. And so when I was a head coach for 16 years, I took a nap. Scrambled eggs, toast, wheat toast, and a nap with a swaddle blanket. But I didn't nap today. And so, that's just how I'm wired. I'm just weird about that stuff. And I'll continue to be that. I'm just another coach on the staff, and that's my responsibility. Coach Winchester wasn't with us tonight. His son Stoney is very sick, and he's at Topeka in the hospital. And he and Mackenzie are out there taking care of that, and that's why he wasn't on the bench tonight. So we'll continue to lift him up in prayer, Stoney. And Coach G wasn't here tonight either, so I don't want people to misconstrue who was on the bench and they're counting heads and why all these empty seats. I know how human beings work. And Coach G had a second round of cancer treatment. He beat it up, and it's awesome. And so he's doing great and recovering. So that's why those two guys weren't on the bench.
The guys seem to play a little bit more free tonight. What do you think you did to help them out in that regard?
So I had a feeling that question was going to come. And I don't ever want to be in a debate situation. I thought our defense on Saturday was absolutely amazing. The second half, it was 45-45. You know, we didn't do some things quite as well, but I thought our defense tonight set the tone. I thought it led to us playing with some easy situations. I thought our guys put ourselves in positions to be really successful in getting downhill and playing at the rim based on if they were going to switch or they were not going to switch. And so I wouldn't say freedom so much like the word that you're using. I would say that they let their defense dictate their offense as opposed to letting our offense determine if we're going to guard or not. And that started Saturday at Houston. And so I think it's a carryover from it. And obviously we got to continue to grow through that. So great observation by you, but that's why I think.
And I know it's unusual circumstances, but was there any part of you that's excited to be even an interim head coach in a setting like this for the first time?
So no, not
Zero?
at all. I talked to Josh Eilert, correct? Eilert, he played here. He went through this process last year at Utah. And so it's like, you know, if you're intelligent, you're going to go seek some counsel from somebody who's done it. And Josh was great. He really gave me some good insight. It's crazy is everything he said was everything that our staff said and everything that we were doing. So it was almost like one of those things where it kind of gave you some affirmation. But I don't want it to be the head coach. I didn't come here to be the head coach. But I understand too that my responsibility, right? I have a contract and my responsibility. And so sitting in that seat or making those decisions or all those kind of things, I can do that. But there's no joy in that at all for me because of why I'm doing it. Like there's just no joy for me for that. And I'm sorry, but I shouldn't have said I'm sorry. I'm not sorry. I'm not sorry at all. I shouldn't have said that.
How were the kids over the last 2 days, and just what was your message to them to where they were able to have this kind of performance?
First of all, you know, the first thing you'd think about based on the season and the way the season was going is you would say, okay, now we're really going to see how these guys feel about Coach. And they were unbelievably just heartbroken and just crushed. And like them dudes love Coach. Because Coach is so real, he's so transparent, he's so genuine in everything that he does. And everything he touches with love. And those guys know that. I mean, he recruited I didn't recruit a single, I had nothing to do with any of them. And so, like, Coach is so vested from that standpoint. And so that I'm proud of. And then I'm proud of, like, at the end of the day, we told him this. Like, I was a fifth grade teacher for 4 years. And children are the most adaptable, and they handle change better than anybody. 61-year-olds, they don't handle change very well. Like, if the skim milk is, like, out of date and I can't have, like, I'm not going to do the 2%. Like, you see what I'm saying? And these dudes were just they were so pliable. They handled the change really well, and they came back Monday, and when they came back Monday, it was like, okay, we're tipping off against Baylor at 8 o'clock tomorrow night. Here's what we're going to do. And we told them, we're not going to change, but things are going to be different. We're not going to change, but things are going to be different. Because I told them, if I try to be Coach, which I'm not, I try to be Coach Drew, which I'm not. So for 16 years, we had oodle success. I mean, if I was at Florida and not North Florida, and we would have had the records we had and finished the way we finished, we'd have been to 10 NCAA tournaments, right? But it's a one-bid league. And so, like, I got to be me. And I told them that. I'm awkward. I'm a little bit different. But you guys got to accept that and understand that. And that was part of our conversation. Right? We're going to do what we do and be who we are. But I got to be me. I can't be someone else. Because if I do, it's not going to be a good thing.
Just Nate handling the ball tonight a lot more. Was that what went behind that decision, and then kind of your evaluations of that?
So he's been doing that probably for the last, Coach, help me, 5 games. We've kind of taken PJ off it a little bit because, you know, once you get to late January and February, they call these the dog days, DAWG, and that's a disciplined attitude wins games. And so when the dog days come and your body's getting worn down and you're playing those heavier minutes, we thought it was probably in our best interest to staff to get him off the ball a little bit more. And so David on the ball, mostly Nate on the ball. And so obviously he's been playing tremendous. They have 6 turnovers tonight, which is a shock because he's really been doing well with that aspect of it. But, 9 assists. And then, Nate, I'm proud of Nate in a lot of ways, but, his 3-point shooting, he's really adapted to what I've asked him to adapt to. Which is to have your left foot stationary on the catch. No matter what you're doing, make sure your left foot is stationary. And it's not stepping sideways, it's down, so you're moving forward. Sort of like Martin Luther King said, keep moving forward, right? And so he made those couple shots, and next thing you know, bada bing, bada boom, so you're feeling good about yourself. And then he was able to get to the cup. He had some really nice finishes. It was and the other thing too is like we ran a couple plays and PJ said, no, let Nate do it. And then put me, so, and then if you saw, PJ was able to get a couple posts up too. We threw the ball over the top to PJ. So we emptied out the backside, the little guard. PJ's such a great gifted scorer that he's able to hold the guy, catch the ball. I think Nate got the assists on those. So it was a collaboration from the staff, and also too, it needed to be done so we could give PJ a little bit of a break.
Questions for Coach?
You guys have been, I'd like to say thank you, win or lose. I want to say thank you to you guys because you have a difficult job, and your job is to report. And you are to report the truth. And where the truth lies, sometimes it's in between maybe what this source says or that source says and how these things come about. But I would just ask you as the media, and as well as you guys do your job, just continue to do that. And continue to make sure that as you move on and I go on and I move on, that you guys continue to understand how critical you are and how much of a difference you can make, because there's a lot of lives at stake. There's a lot of family lives at stake. And then there's a lot of things that move on when things like this occur. So if you could keep our staff and their families and our players, because our players the portal doesn't open till April, but it already opened for those guys. So if you could just continue to just be good human beings and understand that and kind of do what's right.
There was a report on TV during the game tonight on TV that a lot of the guys had already entered the portal.
I don't know, but I don't think you can, because the portal doesn't open until after the national championship game.
Didn't know if there was a window after a firing, but
Oh,
No, it's not. It's all the same now.
okay. Well,
yeah. Actually,
wanted to double check because it's
Yeah.
not on TV.
yeah. Unless, no. Thanks.
Thank you, Coach.
Thank you, guys.